What a phenomenal NBA season. What a phenomenal playoffs. What a phenomenal finals. And what a phenomenal closeout to the finals. I'm Dimitri Prince, clocking in with you for the On the Shift podcast with the immediate post game reaction today. And what can I say about this that's not going to already be said or has already been said? Was a phenomenal game from Jalen Brunson. All the headlines are going to tell you about how great Jalen Brunson was, and he was. But this was not just the Jalen Brunson show, even though if Jalen Brunson wasn't there, they don't win this game. This game was not about Jalen Brunson's hot shooting night. This was about a superstar controlling the game in the most important possessions. Jalen Brunson dropped 45 points tonight, being the most consistent scorer on the New York Knicks side. Not only that, breaking the New York record for most points scored in the finals. He's the only Knick to score 40 plus points in the NBA Finals. This was an insane series overall. What a great run from the New York Knicks, winning 9 straight road games in this playoffs, and in fact finishing these playoffs 16-30 in the NBA playoffs this season. Uh, this was a phenomenal game from the Knicks. They were able to keep the game within striking distance throughout the entire game. They maintained their uh, ability to compete in this game, and when they finally got the stretch that they needed, they finally took control of this game and never let it go. Carl Anthony Towns ended up fouling out of this game in the middle or early part of the fourth quarter, which he wasn't really a factor this entire game. He only had 2 points off of one field goal made. OG Anunoby was in foul trouble, getting to 5 fouls, but nothing came of that. He was very clutch in the end, hitting one of the free throws to help ice this game. But I think if I'm being honest, the story of the game is not how the Knicks stole this. It's how the Spurs kept letting teams hang around. The story of these playoffs has been how the San Antonio Spurs keep seeming to drop the lead when they're in control. I don't know why the play style changes quarter to quarter, half to half, third to fourth, beginning to end. I don't know how this keeps happening, but the Spurs field goal percentage is a prime example of seeing those changes. The Spurs started this game with a high field goal percentage and ended it with a sub 30 or 30% field goal percentage. Not to mention, I can't go on into this without talking about the elephant in the room, the very pedestrian Victor Wembanyama. Granted, Victor Wembanyama had a phenomenal first quarter, but he only finished the game with 18 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 blocks, 3 of which he got in the first quarter. So I bet it really begs the question of what were you doing in the second half? You weren't there when your team needed you. The numbers look great, but this was not the thing that the Knicks needed. The Knicks, I don't know whether it was the fact that the Knicks figured out how to defend Victor Wembanyama late, or did the Spurs fail to put him in position, or did he fail to put himself in a position to succeed? As the number one player on that team, I don't know why he is so keen in these playoffs of settling for the 3 point shot when he is clearly not up to par to hit those shots consistently. I'm not going to be any person that says he cannot hit these shots. He is not the person that should be taking multiple of those shots when you are 7'5" and you can stand in the paint uncontested and get the same attempts. Um, The late part of this game was about rebounding and hustle plays winning this championship. The Knicks didn't win this because they were the most talented team. I don't believe anybody said that they were the most talented team coming into this. They won this because they were making the winning plays in the last latter half of this game. The Knicks went on a run of 6 minutes where the Spurs only scored 2 points during the critical 6 minute stretch in the late game. And that's where that championship was won. Until that point, the Knicks kept it close with Jalen Brunson being the consistent scorer, but he also veered off a lot in that 6 minute stretch to the point where they could not make that comeback. Now I can't talk about the Spurs and talk about the negatives. We have to talk about the rookie sensation right now of Dylan Harper, who had quietly had a breakout finals. 2 20-point plus games in the NBA Finals. If you're a Spurs fan, the greatest takeaway that you could probably take from Game 5 is that you realize Dylan Harper is a guaranteed part of your future. Dylan Harper finished this game with 21 points. Granted, he made some rookie mistakes, some rookie fouls in the third quarter, and he also missed the free throws at the end. But you can't really fault him for being put in that position when your starter, Stephon Castle, only had made one field goal the entire night. Granted, he made it in a clutch moment, but you are the starter and you had 0 points going into the fourth quarter and hadn't made a shot until the fourth quarter. Those two things don't correlate to me for having winning success when one of your star players cannot perform. It cannot perform in that night. That's my that's my instant reaction to the game tonight. I want to ask you guys in the comments: was this series won by Jalen Brunson's greatness, or was this series lost by the Spurs' inability to protect their leads? Either way, on whatever side you fall on, I'm Dimitri Prince clocking out with you on the On the Shift podcast. I'll see you soon.